We are live. What's going on, folks? Been a minute since I've done kind of one of these lives on my own, but started sharing a couple things over the last 2 days on my story, just some kind of outlines, some mentality things to build off of, and some things that I think are important to wrestling mindset specifically, obviously, is what I deal with a lot, but mindset in general, right? Just the mindset of a learner, the mindset of a champion is somebody that's somebody that's always trying to get better, right? Like that's the biggest thing. So that's something. So what I posted yesterday was just 6 things that I think that you can add pretty easily to. Not easily, all right? Let's say that we're going to stop. But 6 ideas that you can add to your routine that'll help you develop that high performance mindset, and really just try to callous you from all the external things that come into play when we're trying to be high achievers. So the 6 things off the top are understanding your habits. What can you do right now? Working with your body, not worrying about failing. Number 5, slow down. And number 6 is just walk the walk. Okay, so we'll kind of just go through each one of these and some things that I think are important from them. Number 1, understanding your habits, right? If you show me your habits, I can probably get a pretty good idea of the type of person you are, right? What we're doing every single day to either bring us closer or to push us further away, right? There's not really any stagnant and sitting in the same place. You're either getting better or you're getting worse. So understanding the things that you do every single day are either bring you towards your goal or bring you along in your plan. We'll talk about the plan later, but will bring you along in the plan, or they're pushing you back. So knowing what those habits are and not just floating through each day. And so part of knowing what your habits are is writing some of these things down, and really, being a person that takes notes and journals and gets these things on, whether it's on pen and paper, which I think is probably the best. I think it's a little bit more impactful, at least for me. It always has been. But I take a lot of notes on my phone as well, and I put them on my phone, and so I can go back and touch on them real quickly. But that the habits are going to be really a mainstay and part of your whatever your plan is to achieving the goals and the dreams and everything like that. So if your habits aren't on point, chances are your progress isn't going to be what you want, right? And the kind of final little note on habits is be open to making adjustments. I think sometimes we get, we learn, or we start doing these habits and we start picking up. Sorry if you can't hear me, the wind is crazy. I'm about to just go inside. We add these habits, or we don't add these habits, or whatever. We get in a routine, and we allow the routine to take over. We allow the routine to be the only thing that we are focused on, and with that, we get in trouble sometimes because we're not actively making adjustments to the plan and listening to the things that are going on around us. So make sure that you're able to have that willingness to make adjustments and willingness to change. Number 2, what can you do right now? What can you do right now? Something in the book, The Power of Now, something that they say that I thought was really cool to think about, is that the future and the past, they don't exist, right? The future is just something that we make up, and the past is something that we can't change. So having a vision of what you want it to look like is great, but we can't get caught up in thinking about what might happen or what could happen, right? We have to make the decisions in the moment right now based on what what we can get accomplished in our given circumstances, so worrying about the things that we have and not worrying about the things that we don't have, worrying about the things that we can affect and not worrying about the things that we have no effect on, right? So our attitude, our effort, the things that we're doing, our habits, right? All of these things play off of each other. So making sure that your actions in the moment that you're in are matching what you want your process to look like and what you want the things that you're going to accomplish to happen. Number 3, working with your body, right? I think this is something that, especially as wrestlers, sometimes we just hammer, and then we wake up and we're 35 years old and our body hurts and everything like that. And that's it's all well and good, right? If you're pursuing something, but there's so much out there now with knowledge of recovery, knowledge of nutrition, knowledge of different types of workouts that are more suitable for the endeavor that you're taking on. So, really taking the time to do your research and try things out that you can start kind of either widening your focus or narrowing your focus given what you're doing, but really making sure that we're sleeping the correct amount of time, making sure that we're eating correctly, make sure that we're hydrating correctly, getting the massages, getting the cold plunge, getting the hot tub, getting the sauna, like all these like little things that add up over time. That's going to be the biggest thing that you can do for your body in the long run is to start creating those habits of rest, recovery, nutrition, making sure those things are beginning early, and again, coaches, parents, like if we can, start helping our kids, helping our athletes implement these things at a younger and younger age, like they're going to see the long-term benefits. And if that's, what our goal is, which it should be our goal, is to make sure these athletes are better off after their time for the long run. Then that's something that is something we can't glance over. We can't just hammer through injuries. We can't just hammer through bad nutrition. We can't just hammer through poor sleep. We have to get these things dialed in. Okay, so making sure you're understanding your body and you're working with it, not against it. Number 4, not being afraid to fail. Easier said than done. Obviously, it sucks to lose, but really, again, we got to have the mindset of a learner, mindset of a person that knows that they're not gonna get better if they never challenge themselves. If they never go and put themselves in the fire, then some of those answers that they're looking for aren't ever gonna show up. Maybe until it's worst case scenario, right? So. We never want to win, we never want to lose, okay? But we're always trying to put ourselves in positions where it's a real possibility that we can lose, right? Because again, if we step up to the challenge where we win a big match or we have a breakout performance, and that's a great thing. We don't get that if we're just beating up the same, kids over and over and over again. Or if we go put ourselves in the fire and we fail or we come up short, like that's just data that we keep and data that we put back into our plan, and we make adjustments accordingly. So always understanding that I'm trying to go out there and seek the toughest competition. I'm going out there to seek the toughest looks for myself so that I can grow. And again, I encourage all my athletes to make sure they're taking notes post competitions, right? Like, it has to do with their plan, how their weight cuts, their preparation, what was their mental game like, what was their warm up like going through this list and just giving yourself a grade 1 to 5, and you go through certain parts of your performance, and this can be done after, it should be done after every practice. And you go and you give yourself a grade, and then you take a few notes at the end. It takes 10 minutes, and you write down, how was I feeling mentally? How was I feeling? How was my warm up? How was my preparation this week? How was my nutrition this week? And you go through this list, and now after the first semester, if you're a high school wrestler or a college wrestler, you go go back and you look at all these notes that you've taken from your competition, you start dividing them up. These competitions, I felt really, really good. What was common in those? These competitions, I felt a little out of sorts. I was a little off. Okay, though all this is in common for those performances, and you start to have data now where you can start to figure out, okay, this is working. I'm going to keep this in. When I do this isn't working. I'm going to take this out. And now we start making back to the adjustments. We're in there making adjustments. Okay. We're not just hammering through with stuff that's not necessarily working or not necessarily the best thing that we can be doing. Number 5, slowing down, right? Nobody wants to hear this, ever really, right? Like we want to move quickly. We want to get those instant results. We want to get that instant gratification. We want to get that good feeling right away. But the truth of the matter is we need to slow down to go faster, right? There's the old saying, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. We have to take a step back sometimes. Maybe it's in practice or it's in, execution of a certain skill. And if you're blowing through it and just hitting reps because coach tells you to hit reps and you're not focusing on some of the details of it, like you're gonna get you're not gonna continue to progress at the rate that you want to. It might feel good, getting your heart rate up, you're getting your sweat, blah blah blah, but what about breaking down like where your hands go on a single leg? What about breaking down where my hips are when I'm finishing my high crotch? And you can get into the weeds as much as you want, but slowing some of your skills down, slowing some of your day-to-day activities down so you really can put yourself in the moment and be there to learn, and B, just really, really start to break down and understand the whys of what you're doing. No matter what it is, understand there should be a reason why you're doing all these things. It's not just blow through it because somebody told me to do it. It's why does this work? Why does it not work? What can I do a little bit better? How can I fix this? So understanding, slowing it down, and that'll allow you to go faster in the long run, right? So just something to think about on the training front. And then the last one is walking the walk, right? Walk the walk, talk the talk, walk the walk, that type of thing. But the talk is cheap, right? Like talk is cheap. Nobody wants to listen to somebody if they don't feel like they're living that same lifestyle or they're living that same thing that they're preaching, right? So walking the walk it's about execution. And I think tomorrow, I posted something today on my story about execution, and I'll either maybe tomorrow or maybe later this week I'll get into that one a little bit more about just the execution is the key. But that's what it's about. It's about using all your daily habits, all your daily skills, all your things that are put together with you to understand that you're in control and understand that you're capable of doing all of these things. A lot of times we're the ones standing in our own way. We're the ones that are putting the barriers on ourselves. So don't just talk about it. Don't just write it down. Don't just think about it. Like, get out there and do the freaking work. And it's gonna have to happen before you think you're ready. It's gonna have to happen, but before everything lines up perfectly. You're gonna have to put it all together and just go try. And some of that may end up with you failing. Some of it may end up surprising yourself, and you might just break through. But you'll never know if we're not out there trying to execute. All right, let's see what's up, Jake. What's up? Let's see. Back there here. Oh, I guess not. Oh, there he is.
Hey, what's going
up,
on,
dude?
Coach?
How's it going, Jake?
Good, man. I was just tuning in. So I don't have
What's
my
up?
microphone. What's going on, Coach? I was just tuning in, listening to you talk there.
Yeah,
How
just
how
trying
you
to
doing?
get a little mindset, little mindset blast. That was the old Jeans and Eddie thing. Mindset blast.
Yeah, fail forward. Fail forward.
Sir. Yes, sir. What what are your thoughts on like what do you have your athletes do like habit habitually wise? Like how do you help them create some solid habits?
And it's funny, literally a video like I just posted a video like 20, 30 minutes ago, and it was what I talked about last night, which is what's the very first thing you should do every single day.
Make your bed.
Yep, 100%. Because if you get that done, you're going to have the discipline to do the next thing and the next thing. And you start your day with a win on the task column, right? So if you can complete the first meaningless task of the day, you're going to set yourself up to complete meaningful tasks throughout the day. And that way you're just building wins all day long. And then when stuff starts getting hard, you're ready to go. You're ready to do it, and just building that discipline of consistency of doing it every single day. Sorry, I got a
Yeah.
black eye. One of my wrestlers learned head position the other day.
I love that. Happens. That's what happens when you got to get in the trenches. I love it. Yeah, no, I'm big on that. I'm big on just morning routine in general, having something that and the what the people don't want to hear is just waking up earlier, right? And setting your sleep schedule up so you are able to still get your sleep, but also getting your butt up earlier where, the social media isn't on, you're probably not getting text messages from your friends, your mom's not calling you. Like get up and get in the work before school, before anybody wakes up, like get that. It doesn't have to be a ton, but getting something in right away when you wake up to just set yourself on fire.
Even if it's just meditation,
Of
even if
course.
you just the first after you get up and make your bed, even if you sit there in complete and utter silence, no phone, no TV, no radio, no music, no nothing, just complete and utter silence, and kind of just gather your thoughts. I found that's extremely helpful, especially at 4:30 in the
Yeah.
morning. Um, and then that sets you up to get in a good mindset for your workout. And then by the time 6 o'clock hits, you've already completed your first task of the day. You made your bed. You already had some meditation where you gathered your thoughts for the day that you might have woke up with, and you got a workout in. And most people are still
Hmm.
asleep, so you're like three legs up on everybody else, and it's 6 o'clock in the morning, and you still got 18 hours left in the day.
Yep. Yep, absolutely. Yep. I mean, it's completely about, doing the things like talk to and we're similar boat, the just the club wrestling stuff in general. And when you have a group of kids that are willing to go straight from their high school practice and go to the club, and there's great clubs in Georgia and there's great coaches in Georgia that allow these things, but there's so many wrestlers that don't do what all of our kids do, and I try to make sure like that's part of my like slowing it down thing is like look around the room, like all your high school teammates aren't here, all the people that you go and compete against every weekend aren't here, right? So understanding like be willing to do those things that people aren't willing to do, because if you separate yourself from 90% of the kids out there, and then that extra 10%, I mean, that just becomes you got to be a dog, and you got to be persistent. You got to be the person that's continuing to push the line a little bit further.
100%. In order to, there's just that saying, I'm sure everybody's heard it, in order to do things and get to where you want to go, you have to do stuff that you've never done.
Yeah.
And if you're not willing to have the discipline to put the work in and say, okay, if my goal is to be a state champ, okay, what does a state champ look like?
Hmm.
Like, what does that workload look like realistically? Right? Is it just going to your high school practice for an hour and a half and then going home and, eating Cheetos? Probably not, right?
I know.
It's probably waking up before school and getting a workout in, getting a lift in if you have like a PE period or whatever they call PE these days, going to your high school practice and then going to your club practice after,
Hmm.
and then having the discipline to go home and do all your homework and keep your grades up.
Yeah.
That's probably what it looks like. And those are the kids that I think you and I are both fortunate that we have a lot of those kids in our clubs that are doing that.
Yeah, and I mean that's the most motivating thing too, is to look around and understand like that's what the wrestling has been such an awesome tool for me, like mentally. Like I've separated myself quite a bit from any of like like social media type stuff, but you still hear this generation isn't as tough as last generation, or this generation isn't as good. And then, but I look around at the types of kids that I get to hang out with every single day, and I'm like, dude, there's hope. Like there's I've never lost any hope, but I'm just saying, like, there's great people out there that are pushing the envelope, that are under 18 years old, that are capable of changing the world. It's just, but we just got to continue to put the right things in their hands, and the right things in their minds, and watch them freaking do it.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, you got the Bo Bassett's and the Jacks Force of the world, and I mean, look at those kids. They're what, like 15, 16,
Mhm.
17 years old, and you know, that's what the work ethic looks like to be, at that level. And then, locally here in Georgia, I mean, man, I've been so impressed with, I never thought I would be good at it, and I was kind of scared to start doing it, but I never, the women's wrestling in Georgia is
Oh, it's
on a
going.
huge come up.
Yep.
And I'm actually really, really impressed with women's wrestling in general now that I've had time to kind of get around some of these girls. And I'm not going to lie, man, some of these girls work harder than the boys
Oh,
do.
you bet. I mean, yeah, and shout out to the girls that I've coached over the years too, because they're always more grateful. They're always the ones that'll step up and they'll volunteer and stuff like that. So I mean, the girls wrestling, they got a lot going for them because they push hard. They're fun to coach, and I mean, yeah, dude. And some of these athletes that are out there, like, studs.
Oh yeah, I mean these girls are killer. Maybe I just got blessed with like the first like five girls I had were all like state champs and like nationally ranked girls, and they're just have like a different mentality. But
Yeah.
again, maybe I'm just fortunate and blessed that that was my intro to coaching women. But so far so good. I'm been super impressed with all the women wrestlers here in Georgia.
Yeah. And I mean, they got a pretty solid system, and I mean, like I said before, there's great coaches in this state, and there's great clubs. It's pretty cool to look around and watch everybody, just pushing in the right direction for the most part. Obviously, there's always ups and downs, but there's a lot of people pushing in the right direction. So it's fun to see all these kids just thriving.
Yeah, I got to make it down to you guys again at some point. It's just such a long drive.
No kidding, I get it, I get it. But well, all right, brother. This was unexpected, but I'm glad to catch up, and
Yeah, man. I
appreciate you
just saw
jumping
your
on.
live and I just wanted to pop in and listen. And I was like, let me just send a request and see what's
Yeah.
up. Say hello.
No, I'm gonna start trying to do. I used to do these lives quite a bit, just like pop on and do like quick little blasts. So I'm gonna bring it back. So
All right,
we'll have to
man.
catch
Yeah.
up again.
Yeah, for sure, man. I love talking wrestling, and I'm a big wrestling nerd, man. I study wrestling all day long. I don't I don't think there's many folks that watch as much wrestling and matches as I do. I'll be watching like Russians that you've never even heard of, and
That's what you gotta do, man.
I go to like the YouTube rabbit hole of like old wrestling and just watch stuff all day long, man. It's crazy. I don't think I have a life. I think I don't know.
It's overrated if you don't need one.
So I appreciate it, brother. We'll catch up soon, man. Thank you
Yep,
so much
sounds
for
good.
popping
I'll
in
see
here.
you, man.
Yes, sir.